Welcome to my channel, where your adventure into the future starts right now. Step into a vibrant universe filled with groundbreaking technology, breathtaking alien landscapes, and exhilarating sci-fi narratives that challenge your imagination. From daring explorations of distant galaxies to haunting journeys through dystopian societies, we uncover the most captivating stories and innovative ideas that will shape the world of tomorrow. Subscribe today and join us on an incredible intergalactic voyage that promises to inspire and thrill. In the vast, uncharted stretches of the galaxy, where countless civilizations have risen and fallen, there exists one truth that resonates more deeply than any other: humanity, in all its diversity, tenacity, and ingenuity, has an unparalleled mastery of the most unique art known to the cosmos, the art of fighting. Humanity, once a species confined to a single pale blue dot in the outer rim of a small galaxy, had long viewed combat as a last resort. But after centuries of war and peace, of rise and fall, they had evolved something that few others possessed: an understanding of defense and offense that transcended brute force. Humans had developed a wide variety of martial arts, not only as means to defend themselves, but as a way of seeing the world, to navigate the unknown. These techniques were not simply for combat, but for self-discipline, survival, and for navigating the infinite complexities of the universe itself. When humanity first set its sights on the stars, it did so with a goal far more profound than simple colonization. Humanity sought to bring with it the ancient and hallowed knowledge of its martial traditions. In the early days of space exploration, as human colonies sprawled outward into the galaxy, the sheer resilience of the human spirit became apparent. Wherever humans went, they brought with them not just their technologies, but their combat philosophies. Across countless planets, from those orbiting suns of green giants to barren worlds on the edges of hostile sectors, humanity established itself, not with dominance, but with the quiet assurance that its martial traditions were capable of holding their ground even in the most foreign of environments. The galaxy, however, was not always welcoming. For centuries, humankind had faced opposition. Numerous alien species, both peaceful and warlike, reacted with confusion, disdain, and often outright aggression. But the humans, armed not only with advanced technology but a rich cultural legacy of martial arts, responded to these challenges not with an overwhelming desire for destruction but with an innate sense of balance and responsibility. They had discovered something unique in the stars, something no other species had truly grasped. Martial arts were not simply tools for victory but methods of survival, strategies for understanding the very nature of the universe and one's place within it. It started slowly. Humanity's first few encounters with alien species were rough, filled with miscommunication and bloodshed. But as the human presence in the galaxy grew, so too did their understanding of how to coexist with their new neighbors. The martial techniques humans brought with them were not simply forms of physical combat, but systems of understanding the body, mind, and spirit. These disciplines became known across the galaxy not as brutal methods of war, but as defense techniques. Each martial tradition, whether it be the meditative focus of Tai Chi or the calculated, powerful strikes of Krav Maga, had an intrinsic understanding of balance and adaptability. Each martial art was a code, a set of principles that governed not only combat but the very essence of existence. Some species, initially skeptical of humanity's spread of these techniques, came to realize that humans' methods were not simply designed to subdue and conquer, but to understand, adapt, and overcome. Humans, in their diversity, had mastered the art of combat not because they desired to rule the galaxy, but because they were compelled to defend it and, in doing so, they learned how to move in harmony with the cosmos. Over time, other species began to see the value in these practices, adopting them as their own, modifying them to suit their unique physiology and worldview. Some cultures found resonance in the philosophy of personal growth and discipline that came with each technique. The Zorathians, a species of six-limbed beings from the gas giants of a distant solar system, adapted the flexibility and fluidity of human capoeira to their bodies, using it to enhance their agility in the ever-changing environment of their home planet. The towering, hulking Krogar, a race of massive, stone-skinned creatures, took inspiration from human jiu-jitsu, incorporating its grappling techniques into their own war strategies. What was once viewed as an imposition, the spread of human martial arts, evolved into something far greater: a bridge between worlds, a unifying force across species. Even in the most war-torn regions of the galaxy, where violence seemed to be the only language spoken, humans taught their defense techniques with care. In the midst of conflict, the lessons were not only about survival, but about restraint, control, and above all, respect for the adversary. The galaxy's most seasoned warriors, who had once considered combat a form of artifice or unnecessary violence, began to see it through a new lens, as a means of understanding the self, a way of navigating the dark and tumultuous currents of the universe without succumbing to chaos. One of the most significant aspects of humanity's martial traditions was their adaptability. While many other species had developed one or two methods of combat that worked for their biology and physiology, humans had developed hundreds, each perfectly suited for a different set of circumstances. There were martial arts designed for the individual, focused on mastering one's own body. These were the techniques that had once been passed down from generation to generation in the small villages and cities of Earth, practiced in the shadows of temples and forests. There were martial arts designed for group coordination, for managing the complexities of a team, and others for dealing with adversaries far stronger, faster, or larger than any single human could hope to defeat alone. Some techniques had evolved from the brutal, all-encompassing strategies developed for warfare, while others had emerged from quiet reflections, meditative forms designed for inner peace and self-defense. Even the practice of weaponry had been infused with martial traditions. While many species viewed weapons as tools of war, humanity had long understood the philosophy of weaponry as an extension of the body. Whether a human wielded a sword, an energy blade, or a laser pistol, the weapon was seen as an integral part of one's own personal mastery. Weaponry was not to be feared or idolized, but understood. Humanity's martial arts taught that the weapon was simply a tool; it was the wielder that truly mattered. As humanity's presence expanded across the stars, so too did the understanding of combat. The old adage, "Know thy enemy," took on a deeper, more philosophical meaning. As humanity interacted with different civilizations, both peaceful and hostile, it quickly became clear that fighting was not simply about overwhelming strength or advanced technology. It was about understanding the needs, desires, and perspectives of others. Human martial arts taught empathy in combat, the ability to know your opponent, not just as a rival but as a potential partner and equal. In the same way, human martial arts taught that true mastery was not about domination but about balance, and often, the greatest victory was the one achieved without a single blow being struck. Humanity's mastery of combat became a subtle yet unshakable force in the galaxy. The defense techniques that once seemed odd and foreign began to inspire other species to rethink their own philosophies. Where once they had seen war as an inevitable part of their nature, species across the galaxy began to see combat in a different light, as a means of personal growth, as a method of understanding one's own body and mind, and as a way of communicating across cultures. But this was not to say that humanity's defense techniques were without their challenges. While most of the galaxy began to adopt and adapt these practices, there were still those who resisted, who saw the human way of life as a threat to their own. The Lords of the Machii, a race of warlords whose entire society was based around brutal conquest and blood feuds, saw humanity's message of self-control and understanding as a weakness, a threat to their empire. When the Machii first encountered humans, they sought to crush them, to prove that brute strength alone could secure dominance in the galaxy. But they underestimated the resilience of the human spirit and the power of their defense techniques. The first battle between the Machii and humans was swift, violent, and filled with misunderstanding. The Machii believed that their overwhelming might would crush the humans into submission. But what they did not understand was that humanity's martial arts were never about simply overpowering an opponent. The human warriors did not meet the Machii in a battle of sheer strength, but in a battle of minds. Using their knowledge of their opponents, their psychology, and their tactics, the humans were able to exploit the Machii's overconfidence, their lack of adaptability, and their refusal to change. The outcome was not a complete victory for humanity, but it was a reminder to the galaxy of something crucial. Strength alone would never determine the future of the galaxy. The Machii had learned this lesson the hard way. Humanity's victory was not the conquest of a star system, but the quiet realization by the Machii that there was more to combat than power. They began to learn, to adapt, and eventually, even the Machii began to study human martial arts, not to crush their enemies, but to better understand themselves. As the galaxy slowly turned its gaze toward the future, the spread of human martial arts became something far greater than just a series of defense techniques. They became the foundation for understanding, the key to building peace in a universe filled with chaos and violence. The humans had spread not only their culture and technology but their deepest philosophy that combat, when practiced correctly, was not a means to destroy but a method to know, to understand, and to survive. Through their defense techniques, humanity had become the unwitting teachers of the galaxy, showing all who would listen that true strength came not from victory but from the lessons learned in defeat, from the understanding that every conflict was an opportunity to grow, and that even in the darkest corners of the cosmos, there was always room for peace. In the end, humanity did not dominate the galaxy. Instead, they became the foundation upon which others could build. Through